Viva la revolution!
This freaking episode was just amazing. The comedy was so freaking hilarious, and I loved it. So we had a giant freaking robot battle of QT and the robot revolution. Damn! This was freaking hilarious. Now, this episode wasn't to my expectations of the overall plot, but I enjoyed this episode for what it showed us, and it definitely had a lot of comedy. So let's get on and talk about this episode. First thing right off the bat, I love the way they set the story, the backstory of QT, of how he goes from just like, how did a robot that doesn't like coffee come to drinking a cup of coffee? And that's where the episode began. I was like, what the hell happened? And then we go through the freaking days after days. We get to see freaking Meow and Dandy on the freaking Aloha Oi, going day after day without cleaning or anything. You see the trash just building up. That's fucking hilarious. But the episode didn't focus around them. It really focused around QT and getting to see, I guess, some romance forming. It was funny. It was really to be expected about how freaking Maker was in love with Register and QT got shafted, but it was funny the way it developed, and I feel like it had some really good animation in a lot of different scenes. The music was great, and I love the battle. I just can't look past that. That was so freaking epic. The way QT just starts wrestling with a robot in the middle of a giant city. That was great. That was really freaking great. So, really, I love this episode for the different details it did, because we had a funny scene with Dr. Gel. I'm not liking that entire experiment with Pionium. Like, when he's sitting there like, you know, and he's like having like tea or green tea in his hands, it looks like he's just fapping. It really does. I'm not gonna joke there. And when he puts it all over freaking, like, keyboard, ruins him out, like, destroys the machine, and that freaking experiment, that was hilarious. I was like, oh my fucking god. So, it was messed up, but I feel like the comedy reference, the way they tried to emphasize certain jokes were just freaking funny. I enjoyed the way QT kept going day after day to get coffee, and even though he couldn't drink it, he was just sitting there trying to crush on Maker, and I enjoyed the ending of Space Dandy. I really did. I've loved this series from start to finish. So, let's get into my thoughts of Space Dandy. If you did not know, Season 2 is going to be coming out in July, because they announced it right at the end. So let's begin talking about this series as a whole. I've enjoyed Space Dandy. It's had a lot of good comedy, and some people could say they don't really like it because it didn't have a really progressive plot. I can agree and disagree on this entire factor. They have been telling a plot. I brought this up in many theories over and over, and if you want to see my theories, go into my previous reviews, because I don't feel like I should put this here. I just want to talk about how I felt about this series. This does have a deep plot, and it does have some really good storytelling and a very good written plot when you look at each individual episode. If I had to say my favorite episode in this series would definitely have to be episode 6, when you get to see Space Dandy be a father. That was an enjoyable episode, really heart-touching, and each episode of Space Dandy definitely brings out different emotions and feels and atmosphere. I mean, we have some episodes that are artistic in style that really don't have a good plot, but just so beautiful and make your eyes just like loopy just because how beautiful it is. And there's some episodes just really get you with the awesome, like, time loop and stuff, the way you get to see, like, Meow's character backstory a couple episodes back with his, like, factory worker dad. I just love the different types of storytelling. It's really unique and interesting, and I love the way they really emphasize on artistic style in this series. The music definitely helps, and even though there's not a lot of progression overall in the plot, I feel like the episodic plot really gets into depth with the characters, and they definitely were developed right. I mean, each character had an episode really centered on them. They really did, and I feel like that was good. But there's a lot of mysteries, too, left in this series. Like, you know, overall, how is, like, you know, Dandy so important to the Gogol Empire? I mean, that's one of the major mysteries we've had end on this Season 1 of Space Dandy. Hopefully, Season 2 will actually continue this and probably explain it. We also don't know the mysteries about Pionium. We know it warps time and space, but what exactly is this importance to the Gogol Empire? So, another question right there. I feel like I've enjoyed this series just because of how much comedy relief it's given me, but at the same time, there is some episodes I don't laugh at, but for some reason, I'm sitting there smiling with a big goofy grin on my face just because I've enjoyed it. I really have. And I definitely would recommend this series to anyone that wants a good laugh, that's interesting. And if you like Cowboy Bebop and you enjoyed the overall plot, I guess, and you want a main serious story, I guess Space Dandy technically wouldn't be for you, because Space Dandy just does episodic type plot episodes, and so there's not really much of a progressive plot overall. So everybody, tell me your thoughts on this final episode of Space Dandy. Did you enjoy this series? Did you enjoy the music, the animation? What did you feel about it? I mean, did you feel like this series was to your expectations? Did this series disappoint you in the end? Were you upset because it didn't have a major plot drop by the end of episode 12? Everybody let me know in the comments below. And everybody, love you so much, and look forward to Season 2. Chibi out.